Okay.
Okay. Welcome to Sports Charlotte, the podcast about sports in Charlotte. My name is Herb White. I'm editor-in-chief at the Charlotte Post. And today is the start of soccer season, at least here. So what we're going to do with today's podcast is we're going grassroots. We're talking to a couple of brothers who are supporters, and I'm learning how to separate the traditional American way of talking about sports as opposed to the European model for soccer. And with us today are Shawn Smith and Jonathan Lee. They are members of the Queen's Firm. Shawn is the co-founder and co-president, correct?
Right, correct, yeah.
And Jonathan is a member who handles social media and that type of thing. Welcome to the podcast, gents, and let's dive right on in. We're only a few days away from the start of training for Charlotte FC. And I would imagine that for supporters groups, especially in a city that is new to Major League Soccer, like Charlotte, these are pretty heady times. So kind of walk me through what a supporters group is as opposed to just fans showing up at a football or basketball or baseball game. What's the difference between putting together a supporters group and just showing up for a game?
All right. The supporter groups are the most passionate fans, and if basically the east end of the stadium, Bank of America Stadium, that's where the supporters groups are going to be at. If you watch like European soccer or MLS, I would say if you ever watched like Austin FC and LAFC, they're kind of the more passionate fans in MLS soccer. Portland's good too. I mean, they really get behind the team. They're really pretty much from the start of the game, or even before the start of the game, before the game even starts, they're singing, they're tailgating, they're having a good time. And it's where different fans from different groups kind of get together and kind of get behind the team. And so that Queen's Firm is like one of the supporters groups for Charlotte FC. I believe there's maybe 7 or 8 total right now. There might be even 9 or 10, but somewhere between 7 and 10 groups that are kind of registered to, or they're supporter groups. And basically, there are different groups because some groups are based on geography, like specifically South Charlotte or West Charlotte, or there's one group that concentrates on I think like South Adam Crown. They're kind of more South Carolina fans. But for Queen's Farm, we're just all over. Like I said, I'm in Southwest Charlotte. Dave, the other co-founder, he's in Cherryville. Jonathan, he's in Mint Hill. So we're all over the place. So each group is set up differently.
And so now I would imagine that, because the way soccer culture plays out is that culture within a supporters group is unique as well, right?
Right, yeah. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like I said, right now, with the season getting ramped up, like, for example, last Saturday, they had a kind of chant cheer session at NODA Brewing. And that's where a lot of supporter groups came together to start working on cheers and chants. And Jonathan, who was the new group that showed up? Blue
Furia.
Blue Furia, a new group showed up. And I was in Raleigh at the time. I was doing something else, but I was kind of checking in on social media, seeing what was going on. And Blue Furia, it's like kind of like a Spanish focus group. And from what I saw, they brought the energy and the noise big time to it. I mean, you were there, you saw them. I saw a couple of your photos online, and they were lit.
They were. Let me ask you a question, Herb. When you go to a baseball game or a football game, when you see the crowd is being prompted by a defense chant or some sort of thing that is computer generated by the scoreboards. In soccer, the supporters are the ones who generate the energy, and hopefully the energy is going to spill throughout the stadium. Okay. So it's our goal, like Shawn said, we do things like we have chant practices We have one now every single week leading up to the season. And that's just a chance for us to organically, everybody brings a different song idea to the table. We all agree on what kind of songs we want to sing, and then we practice. So it's not just, there is an organic nature to it, but it's also very organized, and not organized in the way that it's, on the scoreboard defense. Everything is coming from the supporters who have been practicing for, a month or a month and a half before the season even starts.
Okay, so then if I am a sports traditionalist in terms of Americans, this sounds an awful lot like if we use history as a guide. Way back in the day, at the dawn of football, when there were literal cheerleaders, folks who were, telling their team, hold that line or block that kick. It's an organic wellspring of support. Am I close here?
A little bit, but it is organic in the way that we do it as the starting point. But once we get into that stadium on March 5th, it's organized. We know it is organized based on what we've done in the past month and a half of work leading into, the first opening game. So everything you're going to see on March 5th in the stands will be something that we've all been working on for the last, month and a half. Whether it's a chant, whether it's the cadence of a drum, everything is worked on, and everything is pre-organized to, we're working on chants for specific players and specific goals. So everything is going to be organic in the sense of that we're starting it, but once we get there, it's going to be, it'll be a organized kind of atmosphere.
Will you coordinate with other supporters groups, or
right?
Everybody
Correct.
on their own? Okay.
Yeah. No. Well, so our meetings are staffed by one or two, either a president or a vice president or somebody on the higher up of each supporter group. So say there are 9 right now, you're going to have 2 or 3 from each supporter group, so then they can go back to their group and kind of explain what we've been working on, and and go back and tell the group that this is what we're working on, this is how we want to do this. And so eventually on that first day, everybody knows what's going on.
Okay.
A good example to see is if you go online and look at go on YouTube and see Austin FC. Like they're starting their second year this year. Last year was their first year, and you see their supporters. They were kind of, there's the actual videos, which I think that's what we're going to do eventually, where there will be videos of chants and okay, they got like the Capitals. The Capitals need a cheer. Those are the ones that you see on the stands, and they're kind of like, for example, with Austin, they do hand signals. So I don't know how Charlotte is going to do it. They might do, okay, chant number 1. They might do something like this, chant number 1, okay, or chant. There'll be some type of communication to say, hey, okay, we're doing chant number 2, chant number 3, or whatever, and basically, you'll have the chant. So there's, like I said, it's work in progress. That's why they're having, I guess, the cheer sessions right now is to work out those things and trying to figure out who's going to be Capitals and so forth. And so that's kind of, like I said, it's a work in progress. Like I said, that's why they're having the practices weekly now, because they're trying to get everything ramped up and ready to go. So on March 5th, things will just click like, okay, we've had the team for 100 years versus, okay, no, this is our first home game. This is the first time we're doing it for the entire, fans, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. So now the thing that I was intrigued by is the word capo. And so, in looking at videos during the research for this podcast, I've found out, the capo is sort of like the hype man or the hype woman.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can't be meek and quiet. You gotta have that energy for literally 90 minutes to say, hey, let's, everybody stand up, cheering, you just gotta have that energy, to be able to chant and cheer and kind of direct for the entire game.
Mm-hmm. So who's your hype person?
I volunteered. So I'm an extrovert, so I'm 100% for it. We'll see, if that comes to pass. But I definitely am up for the challenge.
Mm. So you talked about the entry to the stadium, and we know that, that's all part of the pageantry that goes along with sports and soccer in particular. Do you already have that part of it organized? Will it be drums and horns or whatever? I mean, I'm guessing here that you've got some things that are already planned out for opening day, and maybe even for Charleston when they have their friendlies down there. Fill me in.
Okay. Basically, through the supporters council meetings that they've been having for the last several months, I believe that they're going to march at where the WFSC doghouse is, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to march in from across the street from there, and then walk to the east gate. And I believe that's now it could change, but I think that was the plan that was being kind of thrown around. And then they'll go in through. You've seen the new east entrance at the stadium where they renovated it, and so basically people can just go right in, and all this work you just go. It'll make it easier for the supporters to just walk in and go in through the east gate and do it that way.
So talk a little bit about the relationship between supporter groups and Charlotte FC. I would imagine that you can't just jump on the bandwagon all of a sudden and there's 19 different supporters groups that can get access to games and all the other stuff. What is that process like? Do you have to get approval from the team, or what does that mean?
So Charlotte FC hired someone. His name is Shawn McIntosh. He is what's called the chief fan officer. Mm-hmm. This is a position that's only in the MLS, only with Charlotte FC. It's a direct line from us, the supporters, and the rest of the fans, and the team, and the ownership. So, what Shawn is our bridge into the organization. So, when we have requests for, but right now we're organizing, where we're going to, during a match, you have drums, you have flags. Well, where's that stuff going to be stored when there's not a match? And that's the kind of stuff that Shawn is working on now. He's working on the behind the scenes logistics of, everything that we need as a supporter group to be able to pull off a successful match, whether it's the first match, whether it's a 17th match, or whichever one. He's going to be the bridge, and he's doing a great job. He's done a great job of reaching out to all of us, all the leadership, all the supporter groups, and then obviously they filter it back to their supporter groups. But he's doing a great job of relaying how many tickets we have for the opening game on the road, how many tickets that we have in Charleston. Like I said, it doesn't just happen. There's organization, and Shawn McIntosh, the chief fan officer, is the one that makes it happen.
Yeah, so there's a lot of communication going back and forth with this.
Right.
In terms of this being an expansion team, and there's a lot of unknowns. Even you can plan for all you want, and you never going to get the smoothest ride possible out there. And I've not to date myself, but I've been around long enough to see every major league franchise in Charlotte start from the ground up. So what is it about this startup that will that has you so excited, and like the folks with the Queen's firm so excited? Is it because there's so much newness there, or is it because the members of the supporters group are new and they haven't necessarily seen this before, or what?
Well, for me, let me take this, and I'll let you take it, Shawn. For me, it's being able to be on the bottom floor of something that's going to be here forever. I mean, this is the beginning.
Say forever in professional sports, because
that's very true. That's very, very true. But it's very, I'm from Boston, so everything that's everything in Boston, all the franchises there are from the 30s, from the 20s. So none of us know where to start. This is an opportunity for me to kind of be on the ground floor from the beginning and see where we can take this from the beginning and where we can take it. Can we make it like the New York Yankees? Can we make it like the Dallas Cowboys? Or like, you know,
the Boston
how about the Seattle Sounders, which is a great MLS franchise with a great fan base. To me, the Seattle Sounders are what you should want to be for not only for a on-field product, but also from a fan perspective. Because when I went to a match in 2013, when at that time, they broke the attendance record versus Portland. And they also played in a football stadium, in the Seahawks Stadium. And the atmosphere was incredible. And just to be able to even come close here in the beginning to matching what they did in 2013 and to see it, you know, wherever it goes from here, it's really cool to be a part of.
Okay. How about you, Shawn?
I was in high school back in the 80s when Charlotte started the whole try to get the Hornets and the process, you know, George Shinn. Oh, Charlotte is an ACC city. It's not going to get a team. You're not going to fill a 23,000-seat Coliseum. But guess what? We got a Coliseum. We got the team. We were, leading attendance for 8 or 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that first year as a college student at UNC Charlotte with little money, scrounging up my nickels and dimes together. I bought tickets to 2 games. It was that excitement being like Charlotte was a pro city.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was in UNC Charlotte when the Richardson family started the process of getting the Panthers. I remember the Richardsons. I remember Mark and the other son. I can't remember his name. They came to campus and had little meetings, and I couldn't go because the tickets sold out. As soon as the tickets became available, they sold out. But you know, I guess they were just talking generally about what they were trying to do and get an ownership group together. And you know, I remember the whole buzz about where they're going to build a stadium at. You know, build it downtown. No, build it at Canyons. No, build it at Speedway. No, build it out at Kings Mountain. And you know, I remember when the decision was made to build it at where it's at now. And again, just the whole the 2 preseason games in Columbia and Chapel Hill. I mean, just building that anticipation of, and then September, was it 93? We got the team. So this is like Jonathan was describing, you're getting in on the ground floor of something new. You know, you look at all the other, you know, soccer leagues in the world, you got teams that have been around for 100 years, 125 years, and you know, the concept of an expansion team is foreign to most of the world, because guess what? They've had soccer forever. I mean, here it's an infant almost, I guess you can say it, because it's still kind of, you look at MLS from the early 90s when it started versus now is totally different. You know, I have just enough memories of the old, the Major Indoor Soccer League. I grew up in Connecticut, so I remember watching the Cosmos. The Pele. I saw they had the Pele's career, and you know, it wasn't the Pele from when he was
really
young,
good.
But he was still, you know, you kind of see saw flashes and whatnot. And so, like I said, it's just kind of, you see this excitement, especially with us signing players. You got to coach the expansion draft, and like I said, languages I've never heard of before. You know, it's like, but you recognize blah, 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 Charlotte FC. And because Charlotte is becoming known bigger now on a international stage. I mean, I can only imagine what it's going to be like on March 5th here, because you know it's not going to just be local press. It's going to be national press. It's going to be international press. I mean, a lot of people are going to find out Charlotte for the first time on an international stage that you've never really seen before.
Mm-hmm. Now, you bring up some interesting points about being on the ground floor. And I want to come back to soccer culture and representation. And when I see you and Jonathan, you know, I see 2 Black men involved in this supporters group.
Right.
And soccer as a sport has its share of issues when it comes to culture and acceptance. Talk a little bit about that and how, or if you're thinking about that particular aspect of it as well. Because, let's face it, there are plenty of instances in our communities where Black folks say, well, you know what? Soccer, that is not my cup of tea. Don't know anything about it, wouldn't be interested in playing it, wouldn't be interested in watching it. But I'm just, in doing the research again for our get together today, I came across some information from Gilt Edge Soccer Marketing, a group out in Chicago. And they dropped some really interesting statistics on Black soccer fans in America, and I'm like, who would have thought there was such a thing? But, like the average Black soccer fan in this country is 29 years old. 28% of them are college graduates. Another 27% of them have at least been to college. 55% of white soccer fans and 49% of Hispanics, according to this group's research, had no interest in soccer. On the other hand, only 38% of Blacks had no interest in soccer. And 14% of Black fans said they're very interested in soccer, as opposed to 7% of whites. Now, that blew me away, because you always hear the narrative that soccer is all about Hispanics and whites and not necessarily about Black folks. Is that something where you can see an opportunity to maybe shift that narrative in terms of culture?
Absolutely. I mean, I grew up in the Metro Boston area. I grew up playing soccer. I played youth soccer back in the day. I think I was probably maybe one or two other guys were Black on the team. Mostly it was a bunch of white suburban kids, which, that's how it is here. It is an opportunity to not sell the game, but show the game to people who and like you say, who might not be interested. Like you say, in that research, you said that 29%, the average age is 27. So basically 29. Basically, you're talking about from the World Cup in 1996 is basically what you're talking about. If you grow up watching the Women's World Cup in 1996, which totally turned around soccer in this country, then you are and became what it is today. You're basically soccer is basically a one generation sport in this city, where baseball is passed down from fathers, grandfathers. Football obviously rules this country, but I think when you're talking about, and I agree with you, the research is interesting that you say that the average age is 29 and college educated. That sounds exactly right, because those are the exact people that I see going to matches, whether it's on TV or going to watch Liverpool here in Charlotte, because you can watch different your European teams. There are different bars around town where you can go, and if you see the makeup of the groups, very, very multiracial, and plenty of Black folks. And like you say, a lot of them are under the age of 30. And it's because they were exposed to the European leagues, and which is the top level of soccer in this country, or their parents played or they played, whatever it is. Well, you're right. It's an opportunity for Charlotte FC to reach out, and they've been doing some great things in the community, reaching out to other neighborhoods besides just Hispanic and white.
Yeah, they've got the soccer pitch in the second one was Hidden Valley?
Right, in Hidden Valley.
Yeah.
At Hunter's Point.
Yeah, and so you see them that like John was describing, they're reaching out to other areas of the city to introduce kids to the game. And I think when I went to Atlanta, the thing was Atlanta, it was very diverse, you saw many African Americans there. And like the thing is, when I went, the cost for going to a game is lower than versus NFL. Right. Like when I go to Atlanta, I usually get lower level in the corners. Now I pay maybe like $80, $90 for a ticket, which is not too bad for one game. But if that was a Falcons game, there's no way I'm sitting in that post. And that's the thing, is the cost to they'll go for a single game or be a season ticket holder is much easier on a pocketbook, especially if you're a young family, got maybe one or two kids. hey, there's something to do. Hey, and the thing about it too with soccer, it's 2 hours. Now you might go there early to do the tailgating and this and that, but with soccer is basically a 2 hour, I guess, time frame. You go down there, go to the game, 2 hours, okay, and then that's it. So I think that's an appeal to a lot of, and especially now kids. A lot of kids play soccer. They play in school and early organized leagues, and so they've been exposed to it more. They've got their interest in saying, "Hey, Charles got a team out. Hey, let's go to a game." And I think when that first game is going to click, and a lot of people are going to be, I think they'll be hooked on after the first game.
Yeah, and one of the supporter groups that has gained a lot of notoriety over the years is Atlanta's Footy Mob, and it's a Black-led, organized supporters group, and it adds that extra flavor. As mostly an African American group, they add something that, I guess, as far as soccer goes in America, it's a totally different vibe, and they are very, very popular in terms of what makes Atlanta United soccer special. And so, I think that it's an opportunity to see what everybody has in store. So, what are you guys going to go to Charleston, or are you going to save everything until opening day in March?
No, I think Charleston it's going to be the first opportunity for the fans here to be able to see their team. I think you're going to see a lot of people go to Charleston for that opening, even though it is just preseason, for that opening game, just because this will be the first chance you get to see. We've been talking about these players now. When they signed their first player, Sergio Ruiz, last in 2020, you're talking about almost a year and a half that we've been talking about these players. And, they've slowly been building the roster. Well, now we get to see all the fruits of their work and the work they're going to do here in the preseason on the pitch being field, soccer parlance, here. So we have to make sure
all you Neanderthals who don't know.
Right. We have to make sure we get the correct terminology. So, yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of people and plus it's Charleston's 3 hours. You go down, you have a drink before the game, you go to the game. Some people are coming right back. I'm coming right back. I know Shawn's staying down there. I'm coming right back.
Because Shawn, and looking at your Twitter handle, I see you've got Las Vegas in the background, so I'm guessing you are kind of the traveler there. So do you do a lot of this road trips?
I go here. I go here, there, everywhere. Like I said, I went to the Cardinals Panthers game out in Phoenix. And like I said, to me, that's a good trip because you go there for, I got college buddies out there, so we kind of made it, I kind of put it together of, hey, go out there, hang out with them for a few days, and then, go to the game on the side. And like I said, to me, those are great trips, make it like a 4-day, 3-night trip, just enough time to go to the game, do a couple of extra things, kind of see the city and so forth. And so, like I said, it's fun because especially when people coming into Charlotte for the first time, people are asking, what's it to do to Charlotte? Where to go in Charlotte? How's the best to get to the stadium? It's like, I've been telling people, take the light rail, take the streetcar. Don't drive downtown on Gate Day and try to park. No, take the train. And so it's just that excitement. And like I said, I'm waiting for Vegas to join us number 30. That's what I'm waiting for.
Well, they're supposed to be the front runner, so you'll have some road trips that you'll have to keep quiet when you go out there.
Right.
Let me ask you this: now, will supporters groups from Charlotte actually travel as well, or is this
absolutely?
Okay.
No, absolutely. We're organizing right now. This is one thing. Also, this is when I talked about Shawn, the CFO. He is working with DC United to get us a certain number of tickets because the first match is on the road, February 26th, up in DC. They did a good job schedule-wise of making that game accessible to the people here in Charlotte. It's not like they're going to Vancouver or something across the country. They made it so the first game Charlotte FC plays is accessible to the people who live in Charlotte. So whether you're going to drive, whether you're going to fly, take the train, take the bus, whatever, it's going to be accessible. So we're going to have 200, 250 people there. We only get a certain number of seats, especially with that being the opening game. it's going to sell out for that team. And they play in soccer-specific stadiums. Their stadiums are only like 20,000 seats. So it's not like, I think only 3 or 4 MLS teams play in football stadiums. Most of them, the model for the MLS is to get out of these huge capital stadiums and build these beautiful little 20,000 seat stadiums that are where the noise just cascades from the crowd onto the field. That's the model. But so DC plays they used to play at RFK Stadium when they first came out.
Real dungeon.
Right. Now they play right down the street from the Washington Nationals on Navy Yard. They built a nice little 20,000 seat stadium right in the neighborhood, which is something I would love to see them do here. But we're going to have, I would think we're going to have 200 to 300 people easily going. Now, we're not going to caravan as a group. That'd be too difficult. Everyone's going to get there on their own. We're going to meet in one location at usually a bar or a restaurant before the match. We'll pregame. Most of the people will come in the day before, so we'll do a pregame the day before, and then for the day of game, we'll do a meetup at the local bar, and then do what's called a march to the match. That's when all the supporters, whether home or away, meet in one place, congregate in one place, and march as a group into the stadium. So, and the schedule is a lot of the teams are close to here. Atlanta is close, Orlando is close, Miami is close. They play in a really bad stadium though, so that's a whole other. But yeah, like Shawn said, Shawn is in for the Colorado trip. I don't think I am, but I am in for the LA trip because I know people in LA, and because LAFC has a great fan base. I want to be around people who know the game and can teach us a little bit about what we should be doing as a supporter group.
Yeah. Go online whenever you get a chance. Look up LAFC 3252 videos online. You can tell on game 1, which is 17 was their first season, I think. Game 1, because that was, to me, if you look at LAFC, the 3252, they're ethnically diverse, culturally diverse. You got fans downtown, East LA, the Valley, Orange County, the beach towns. But the thing is, everybody comes together on game day to get behind a team. And I think that's what's going to happen, especially with Charlotte, because, yes, it's a Charlotte team, but you're going to have supporters in the North Carolina, South Carolina area. You're going to have people come in from, Raleigh, Greenville, Columbia, Charleston. They're all going to come here, and no matter where you're at, you'll be behind. Everyone's going to get behind Charlotte FC. Okay.
So now, last question, and this is going to be free flowing. What may I have missed if you were talking to somebody who had just stumbled upon Major League Soccer, Charlotte FC, and the Queen's Firm? What would you tell them about all of that?
Delphi, you can go first.
Go ahead, John.
Oh, listen, for us, like I said, I'm a soccer novice. I'm still learning about the game. There are people they've got their favorite European team or whatever league team, and if they play at 5 o'clock in the morning, they're up at 4 getting ready for the game. We're open to everybody. We're all learning and growing together as a group.
Right.
So it's not like, oh, you don't have a favorite European team? It's like, well, no. It's like this. Like I said, with me personally, I was Olympics, World Cup, but I don't have a favorite England team or German or whatever. Like I said, I'm starting to. I work at night, so I'm usually getting up especially on Saturday when NBC has their English Premier League games. I mean, if I can get up soon enough, I'll turn it on right quick and kind of watch the last maybe 15 minutes or so, just kind of see what's going on. But like I said, we're all learning and growing together. And like I said, we're geographically diverse. We find people from even out of state where, they're not close enough to Charlotte to really be a ticket holder, but to see our social media, especially on Twitter and the Facebook group, they kind of keep track of, there was something on channel WCNC about training camp starting, or, WCCB posted something about signing the newest player. They're seeing us as an outlet to see oh, hey guys, thanks for helping me keep track of what's going on with the team. I live in Kansas City, so I can't follow it day to day like you guys can. But I know I can go to your Twitter page, I can go to your Facebook page to see what's going on with the team.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. I think, like Shawn says, we're all growing together. We're all growing together. We're all learning this in real time. So it's a chance for the entire community. And we're going to work on projects as a group. Every supporter groups, goes out in the community and tries to have some sort of service project. Those are the things that we're working on now as a supporter group, getting the right amount of people and reaching out to different nonprofits in the community and being a presence, not just with amongst ourselves or with the team, but also out in the community and being able to draw people not only into us, but also into the team, but also into us. So we're all growing together. It's going to be a fun ride. And it's just really fun to be on the bottom level here and kind of see where this goes as a community of soccer and novice soccer people, see where it goes as a group leading into the future.
Yeah. Well, so
that'll be what's going to happen on the first game. I mean, who starts the earliest tailgate? Like 8 o'clock in the morning. I guarantee you, someone's going to start tailgating.
Oh yeah.
At 8 or 9 o'clock without not even blinking. I would guarantee you.
It sounds like a prop bet worth taking.
Right.
So what is the best way for folks to reach out to you at the Queen's Firm, whether it's on social media or website?
Shawn, you're the president. You go ahead.
Okay, we're on Twitter, which is Queen's Firm, twitter.com/Queen's Firm. We also have the queensfirm.com, which is our website. And then we also have a Facebook page, and we also have Instagram. Yes, yeah, we just restarted the Instagram page. So yeah, we're on Instagram now too. So
okay.
Yeah, on the website, there is a spot on a page on the website to join as a member. So as you're kind of perusing the website, there is a tab to join as a member. And then we have a kind of a bunch of bylaws, and we kind of sort of talk about who we are as a group and what we're not looking for, but what we want as a group. And if you want to be the kind of person that wants to just have fun and go to soccer matches and hang out with a bunch of fun people and kind of do this organically, come on and join us.
All right. Sounds like a real winner there. So Jonathan Lee, Shawn Smith, the Queen's Firm, thank you guys so much for joining us here at Sports Charlotte. And for all of you out there, join us via Sports Charlotte on the Queen City Podcast Network, Apple News, as well as our website, thecharlottepost.com. Like us, support us, because we're doing this for fans of all ages, types, genders, and whatever else is out there. And I look forward to seeing you guys at some matches. Not going to promise anything about that Charleston business, but opening night in March, yeah, we'll be there. And thank you all for joining us today on Sports Charlotte.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Have a great day.
All right.